I was 24 years old, standing in that cold courtroom when I heard him say it. Your Honor, she contributed nothing to our marriage. Nothing. She was just there. My hands trembled as I gripped the edge of the wooden table. 3 years. 3 years of my life, and this is how Marcus described them. Like I was a ghost. Like I was invisible. The courtroom was packed. His mother sat in the front row, her lips curled into a satisfied smirk. His lawyer, a sharp woman in a navy suit, shuffled papers with confidence. They looked prepared. They looked victorious. I looked at my own lawyer, Mr. Bennett, a tired man in his 60s who I could barely afford. He gave me a weak nod, but I saw the doubt in his eyes. We both knew what this looked like. A young woman with no receipts, no proof, no voice. Just my word against Marcus and his family's money. She didn't work, Marcus continued, his voice steady and rehearsed. She didn't contribute financially. The house, the car, the investments, all mine. I built everything while she stayed home doing whatever. The judge, an older woman with silver hair and sharp eyes, looked at me. Mrs. Rivera, do you have anything to say to these claims? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. He knew. He knew I had nothing. His mother whispered something to the woman beside her. They both laughed quietly. Mr. Bennett stood slowly. Your Honor, my client does have documentation. We request a moment to present it. Marcus's lawyer rolled her eyes. Your Honor, we've been here for 2 hours. This is a waste of the court's time. The judge looked at me again. Her expression was unreadable. You have 5 minutes, Mrs. Rivera, she said coldly. Make them count. My heart pounded so hard I thought everyone could hear it. I reached for my bag with shaking hands, pulling out a single manila folder. Marcus glanced at it and smirked. 1 folder. That's all I had. But what he didn't know was what was inside. I placed the folder on the table, but I didn't open it yet. My fingers rested on top, feeling the weight of everything inside. 3 years of silence. 3 years of being called lazy, useless, a burden. Your Honor, I began, my voice barely above a whisper. Marcus is right about one thing. I didn't work a traditional job during our marriage. His lawyer smiled. His mother nodded, victorious. But that's because he asked me not to. Marcus shifted in his seat. That's not... Mr. Rivera, you'll have your turn, the judge interrupted sharply. I swallowed hard and continued. When we got married, I was 21. I had just finished my business degree. I had 3 job offers. My voice grew stronger. But Marcus said we didn't need my income. He said he wanted me home. He said he wanted to build something together. She's lying, his mother hissed from her seat. The judge shot her a warning glare. 1 more outburst and you'll be removed. I took a breath. So I stayed home. And I did what he asked. I managed everything. The house, the finances, his schedule, his business contacts. I looked directly at Marcus. I built the foundation while you took the credit. This is ridiculous, his lawyer interrupted. Your Honor, she has no proof of any financial contribution. No bank statements in her name, no business records, nothing. Mr. Bennett stood. Actually, Your Honor, that's where you're wrong. He gestured for me to open the folder. My hands trembled as I lifted the cover. Inside were printed emails, bank records, screenshots, contracts, all organized with colored tabs. Marcus leaned forward, squinting. I saw the moment his face changed. The moment he realized. What is that? His lawyer demanded. Evidence, Mr. Bennett said calmly. 3 years' worth. I pulled out the first document. An email from Marcus to his business partner. Dated 2 years ago. I read it aloud. Thank you for dinner last night. As I mentioned, none of this would be possible without my wife's organization. She's the backbone of everything I do. The courtroom went completely silent. Marcus's face drained of color. His lawyer grabbed the paper from my hand, scanning it frantically. There are 47 more emails just like that one, Mr. Bennett added. The judge leaned forward, her eyes now locked on Marcus. Mr. Rivera, she said slowly, would you like to revise your earlier statement? Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. His lawyer whispered something urgently in his ear. but he just sat there frozen. Your Honor, these emails are taken out of context, his lawyer finally said, her voice losing its edge. My client was simply being polite in professional settings. Polite? I felt something break inside me, something that had been held down for too long. He wasn't being polite. He was telling the truth he's now denying under oath. I pulled out another document, a spreadsheet. My handwriting covered every inch of it. This is a record of every business dinner I planned for Marcus, every client I researched, every presentation I helped him prepare at 2 a.m. My voice cracked. 63 events in 3 years. I coordinated everything. The venues, the menus, the talking points. His business tripled because of these connections. She's exaggerating, Marcus muttered. Am I? I looked at him, really looked at him, and I didn't recognize the man I'd married. Your Honor, may I approach? The judge nodded. I walked forward, my legs shaking, and handed her a printed text message. This is from Marcus's biggest client, Robert Chen, sent to me 6 months ago. The judge read it aloud. Sarah, thank you for connecting me with Marcus. Your insights about our company were exactly what we needed. You're the real talent in that marriage. Marcus shot up from his chair. That doesn't prove anything. Sit down, Mr. Rivera, the judge commanded. His mother stood up. This is absurd. My son built his company from nothing. She's just a girl who got lucky. Mrs. Rivera, sit down or leave my courtroom, the judge said coldly. The older woman sat, but her face was red with fury. I continued, my confidence growing with each word. I have testimonials from 12 of Marcus's clients. All of them mention me by name. All of them credit me with the success of their partnerships. His lawyer was flipping through her own notes frantically, searching for something, anything to counter this. Mr. Bennett placed another stack of papers on the judge's bench. We also have financial records showing that Mrs. Rivera used her personal savings to fund the initial startup costs of her husband's business. $28,000, money she inherited from her grandmother. Marcus's eyes went wide. I smiled, a cold, bitter smile. You forgot about that, didn't you, Marcus? Marcus stood up again, his face twisted with anger. That money was a gift. She gave it to me willingly. A gift. I laughed, and it sounded hollow even to my own ears. You told me it was an investment. You told me we were building our future together. I pulled out a handwritten note from the folder. My hands weren't shaking anymore. This is a promissory note you wrote me, Marcus, dated March 15th, 3 years ago. It says, and I quote, I, Marcus Rivera, promise to repay Sarah the amount of $28,000 once the business is profitable, plus 10% interest. This is a loan, not a gift. The judge took the note, examining it carefully. This appears to be your signature, Mr. Rivera. His lawyer snatched it from the judge's hand, studying it. Her face went pale. Your Honor, I wasn't aware of this document. Clearly, the judge said dryly. Marcus's mother stood up again. He was young. He didn't know what he was signing. That girl manipulated him. I was 21 years old. I screamed and I didn't care anymore. I didn't care who heard me or what they thought. I was 21 and I trusted him. I gave him everything I had because I believed in us. The courtroom erupted. People were whispering, gasping, pointing. Marcus's mother was shouting something at me, but the judge's gavel drowned her out. Order! Order in this court! The judge slammed the gavel 3 more times. Mrs. Rivera Sr., you are removed from this courtroom. Bailiff! As the bailiff escorted Marcus's mother out, she screamed at me. You gold-digging little... The doors closed behind her, cutting off her words. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus sat down heavily, his head in his hands. For the first time since this nightmare began, he looked small, defeated. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Rivera, what else is in that folder? I looked at Mr. Bennett. He nodded. Everything, Your Honor, I said quietly. Bank transfers showing I paid our mortgage for 8 months when his business was failing. Credit card statements proving I maxed out my cards to keep his office running. Text messages where he promised to pay me back. Marcus's lawyer was furiously typing on her laptop, trying to salvage whatever she could. There's also something else, I continued. Something I discovered 2 weeks before he filed for divorce. Marcus's head snapped up. His eyes met mine, and I saw it. Fear. Pure, genuine fear. "What did you discover, Mrs. Rivera?" the judge asked. I reached into the folder one more time. I discovered where all our money really went. I pulled out a bank statement. Not from our joint account. Not from his business account. From an account I wasn't supposed to know existed. Your Honor, 3 weeks ago, I received an email by mistake. It was meant for Marcus, but it came to me because we share a last name on our insurance. I held up the paper. It was from a bank in Delaware. A bank we'd never discussed. A bank where Marcus has had a private account for 2 years. Marcus's lawyer froze mid-keystroke. "That's private," Marcus shouted. "You had no right to look at that. You had no right to hide it," I shot back. "We were married. Everything was supposed to be shared, remember? That's what you told me." The judge held out her hand. "Let me see that statement." I walked forward and placed it on her bench. She studied it for a long moment, her expression darkening with each second. "Mr. Rivera, this account shows deposits totaling $460,000 over the past 2 years. She looked up at him. "Where did this money come from?" His lawyer stood quickly. "Your Honor, my client's private financial affairs aren't relevant to— They're extremely relevant when he's claiming poverty and asking for spousal support from his wife," the judge interrupted coldly. "Wait, what?" I turned to Mr. Bennett, confused. He leaned over and whispered, "He's not just trying to keep everything. He's asking you to pay him alimony." My blood ran cold. "What?" The judge continued. "Mr. Rivera filed a claim stating that he became accustomed to a certain lifestyle during the marriage and that his wife should contribute to maintaining it post-divorce." I felt dizzy. After everything, after taking my money, my time, my youth, he wanted more? "You're insane," I whispered, staring at Marcus. "You're absolutely insane." He wouldn't look at me. Mr. Bennett stood. "Your Honor, if I may. The deposits in that account correspond exactly with the revenue from Mr. Rivera's business during the same period, revenue that he claimed was minimal in his financial disclosure." The judge's eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting that Mr. Rivera committed fraud in his financial statements to this court?" "I'm not suggesting anything, Your Honor. I'm stating a fact." The courtroom exploded again. Whispers turned to shouts. Marcus's lawyer was yelling objections. The bailiff called for order. And then the courtroom doors opened. Everyone turned. A man in an expensive gray suit walked in, carrying a briefcase. He was older, maybe 60, with sharp eyes and an air of authority. "Who are you?" the judge demanded. The man approached the bench. "Your Honor, my name is David Park. I'm a forensic accountant, and I have information relevant to this case." Marcus went completely white. I had never seen this man before in my life, but apparently Marcus had. "Your Honor, I object." Marcus's lawyer was on her feet, practically trembling. "This man has no business in this courtroom. This is highly irregular." The judge held up her hand. "Mr. Park, on whose authority are you here?" "Mine, Your Honor," Mr. Park said calmly, opening his briefcase. "I was hired 6 months ago by Mrs. Rivera's grandmother's estate executor to conduct an audit." I felt my heart stop. My grandmother's executor? Mr. Park turned to me, his expression softening slightly. "Your grandmother passed 2 years ago, correct?" "Yes," I whispered. "Before she died, she placed certain conditions on your inheritance. One of them was that if you married, your spouse would be audited to ensure your assets were protected." He pulled out a thick folder. "I've been watching Mr. Rivera's finances for half a year." Marcus looked like he might throw up. "This is entrapment," his lawyer shrieked. "Your Honor, none of this is admissible." "Actually, it is," Mr. Park said smoothly. "Mrs. Rivera's grandmother had every legal right to protect her granddaughter's inheritance. And what I found is quite disturbing." The judge leaned forward. "I'm listening." Mr. Park began laying out documents on the bench. Mr. Rivera didn't just hide $460,000. He systematically siphoned money from the business that his wife helped build, money that should have been marital assets. "That's my business," Marcus shouted. "I built it." "With her money," Mr. Park said coldly. "With her connections, with her labor. And then you hid the profits." I couldn't breathe. My grandmother. She'd protected me even after death. Mr. Park continued, "But that's not the worst part. Mr. Rivera also took out 3 credit cards in his wife's name without her knowledge." "What?" I screamed. "He maxed them out. $57,000 in debt, all in your name, Mrs. Rivera." The room was spinning. I grabbed the table to steady myself. I didn't. I couldn't form words. Marcus stood up, pointing at me. "She's lying. She knew about those cards. She approved everything." Mr. Park pulled out another document. "Then why is your signature forged on all the applications? I had a handwriting expert analyze them. It's not even a good forgery." The judge slammed her gavel down. "Mr. Rivera, sit down, now." Marcus collapsed into his chair, his face in his hands. His lawyer was gathering her papers, whispering frantically to him. I could see her trying to calculate an exit strategy. Mr. Bennett stood slowly, and for the first time today, he smiled. "Your Honor, in light of this new evidence, we'd like to amend our petition." "Granted," the judge said immediately. "We're no longer asking for a fair division of assets." Mr. Bennett's voice was strong now, confident. "We're asking for full restitution, criminal charges for fraud and identity theft, and sole ownership of the business that Mrs. Rivera rightfully helped build." Marcus's head shot up. "You can't do this. You can't take everything." I walked toward him slowly. Everyone watched me. I leaned down until we were face to face. "You already did that to me, Marcus," I whispered. "I'm just returning the favor." Marcus's lawyer was packing her briefcase. "Your Honor, I need to consult with my client privately. This changes everything." "I'm sure it does," the judge said coldly, "but we're not done here." She turned to Mr. Park. "You mentioned criminal charges. Elaborate." Mr. Park nodded. "Identity theft, fraud, forgery. The credit cards alone are enough for felony charges. But there's more." He pulled out another document. Mr. Rivera also filed false tax returns. He claimed business losses that never existed to avoid paying taxes on the money he hid. "That's tax evasion," the judge said. "Yes, Your Honor. Federal crime." Marcus looked up at me, his eyes desperate. "Sarah, please. We can fix this. We can work this out." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Now you want to work it out? When you're facing prison?" "I made mistakes, okay? I was stupid. But we loved each other once." "You loved my money," I said. "You loved what I could do for you. You never loved me." His lawyer touched his arm. "Marcus, stop talking." But he couldn't stop. "Your Honor, she's vindictive. She's trying to destroy me." The judge removed her glasses, cleaning them slowly. When she put them back on, her expression was ice. "Mr. Rivera, you forged your wife's signature. You stole her identity. You hid assets. You lied to this court under oath." She paused. "The only person who destroyed you was you." She turned to the bailiff. "Contact the district attorney's office. I want fraud charges filed immediately." Marcus went pale. No, please." "Your Honor," Mr. Bennett said, "my client would like to make a statement." The judge nodded at me. I stood, my voice steady now. "I came here today expecting to lose everything. Instead, I learned that the only thing I lost was a man who never deserved me." Marcus was crying now. Actually crying. "The business, the house, the money, you can have it all investigated," I continued. "Whatever's mine, I'll take. Whatever's his, he earned through lies." The judge nodded slowly. "This court will reconvene in 1 week for final judgment." She stood, and everyone rose. As the bailiff led Marcus out, he looked back at me one last time. I didn't look away. I wanted him to see exactly what he'd lost. 1 week later, I walked back into that courtroom. This time, I wasn't shaking. This time, Marcus sat alone at his table with a public defender. His expensive lawyer had dropped him the day after our last hearing. His mother wasn't there either. I'd heard she disowned him when the criminal investigation started. Funny how quickly loyalty disappears when money's involved. The judge entered, and we all stood. "I've reviewed all evidence submitted by both parties," she began. "I've also consulted with the district attorney's office regarding criminal proceedings." Marcus closed his eyes. "Mr. Rivera, you will face criminal charges for identity theft, fraud, and tax evasion. That's a separate matter from this divorce proceeding." She looked at her papers. "Regarding the division of assets, the business built during your marriage will be awarded to Mrs. Rivera. You contributed startup fraud, she contributed actual work." "Your Honor," his public defender started. "I'm not finished. The house will be sold. Proceeds split 70-30 in Mrs. Rivera's favor due to her documented mortgage payments. The hidden accounts will be frozen and audited." Marcus's head dropped. "Mrs. Rivera, you are also awarded the $28,000 loan repayment, plus interest, totaling $34,000. I felt tears building, but I held them back. "Furthermore, Mr. Rivera will assume full responsibility for the credit card debt fraudulently opened in his wife's name. All $57,000. "I don't have that kind of money," Marcus whispered. "Then I suggest you find employment," the judge said without sympathy. "This divorce is granted. We're adjourned." The gavel came down. It was over. I walked out of that courtroom, and for the first time in 3 years, I could breathe. Mr. Bennett shook my hand at the courthouse steps. "Your grandmother was a smart woman," he said. "She really was," I replied, looking up at the sky. Somewhere, I knew she was proud. Marcus had tried to erase me, to make me invisible. Instead, he erased himself. 6 months passed. I stood in the office that used to be Marcus's, looking at the new sign on the door. Rivera Consulting, under new management. The business was thriving. Turned out clients preferred working with someone honest, someone who actually did the work instead of taking credit for it. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" "Sarah." It was Marcus. His voice sounded hollow, broken. I need to talk to you." "We have nothing to discuss. Please, just 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a coffee shop downtown. When I arrived, I almost didn't recognize him. He'd lost weight. His clothes were wrinkled. The confident man who'd humiliated me in court was gone. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly. I sat across from him, saying nothing. "I'm bankrupt. The criminal trial starts next month. My lawyer says I'm looking at 3 years minimum." He laughed bitterly. "I lost everything. You did that to yourself." "I know." He looked at me with empty eyes. "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I needed you to know something." "What?" "You were right. About everything. I didn't love you. I loved what you could give me." He paused. "And now I have nothing. And you have everything. And it's exactly what I deserve." I stood up to leave. "Sarah, wait. There's something else." He pulled out an envelope. "Robert Chen, my biggest client, he left me. Said he only stayed because of you. He wants to work with you directly now." He slid the envelope across the table. "He's offering you a $2 million contract." My hands trembled as I picked it up. Marcus smiled sadly. "Congratulations. You finally got the recognition you always deserved." I looked at the man who'd tried to destroy me. "Goodbye, Marcus." I walked out, the envelope in my hand, the sun on my face. I was 25 years old, and my life was just beginning. 1 year later, I stood on a stage in front of 300 people. A business conference in Boston. They'd invited me to speak about building success from nothing, if only they knew the truth. I didn't build from nothing. I built from ashes. When I was 21, I gave everything to someone who saw me as invisible, I told the audience. My money, my time, my talent, and when he tried to take credit for it all, I had a choice. Stay silent or fight back. The room was completely quiet. I chose to fight. Not with anger, but with evidence. With truth. With the records I'd kept of every contribution I'd made. I paused. My grandmother taught me something before she died. She said, "Sarah, always keep receipts. Not because you don't trust people, but because you trust yourself." Applause filled the room. After the speech, a young woman approached me. She couldn't have been older than 22. Her eyes were red from crying. "My husband says I contribute nothing," she whispered. "He says I'm lucky he takes care of me. But I do everything. Everything." I took her hands. "Then document everything. Every email, every text, every receipt. Build your file now before you need it." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you." As she walked away, I pulled out my phone. One new message. It was from Mr. Park, my grandmother's forensic accountant. "Thought you'd want to know. Marcus was sentenced today. 4 years. He'll be eligible for parole in 2. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I deleted it. That chapter of my life was over. I was 26 now. I had a business worth millions. I had my voice back. I had myself back. Marcus thought he could erase me, make me disappear. Instead, I erased him from my story and wrote my own ending. And that ending? It was just the beginning.